Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for today's video. It's about a new way that's available. It's a more for sure way to detect dangerous people. Narcissists and people that have antisocial personality disorder are not very easily detected at all. They may make up at least 10% of society. That's the low numbers. That's with 6% narcissist, 4% antisocial, at least. But abuse is generally intimate. It's at home or at the workplace, flies under the radar, doesn't it? They don't want anyone to know. Neither do the victims, typically. Only about 7% of sexual assaults are by strangers. Fascinating fact. I had no idea of that. Any of you did? Would you even have guessed that at all? That 93% of sexual assaults are by someone you know? Your husband? Your wife? Your boyfriend? Family member? Crazy. 600,000 plus children are abused in the home just in the United States every year. 1 in 7 children are abused in the home just in the United States. The CDC's National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey suggests that 41% of women and 26% of men will experience sexual violence, physical violence, stalking, all by intimate partners in their life. 41% of women, nearly half. So it's happening, and it's happening a lot, but we don't see it unless it happened to us. We didn't know. Yeah? I teach people how to approach, form, and maintain healthy relationships. I know how, and I teach people, and they have success. Takes some time, takes some money, maybe some trial and errors. But what if there was a quicker and easier, more efficient way to test if people have a propensity to violence, lack of empathy, right? I would imagine most people that are hurting people in their life lack empathy. That's borderline, histrionic, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and several others. They all lack empathy. I made a video a few years back about a neuroscientist named Dr. James Fallon. Very interesting story. If you don't know of it, I highly suggest to go watch it. Just type it in YouTube. Countless videos about him. Very interesting man. He studied brains. He studied brains to find out whose violins, I can't say that word. He studied the brains of psychopaths in prison, known serial murderers, stuff like this. Wanted to find a pattern. In doing so, he realized and found out that he himself has the brain of a psychopath. Psychopathy can be detected in brain scans now. He says the psychopath, 3 major components. One is genetics. They have to have the genetic makeup. When you find a psychopath, you can often go back in their family tree and see there might be a couple people who stand out, been to prison, murdered people. He does. He has someone in his few generations back, a famous, God, I wish I remembered her name now, I don't. Very famous murderer who murdered her family. He's related to her. It takes the genes, and then the orbital cortex and the prefrontal cortex is what's responsible for ethics, morality, and conscience, and responsible for impulsive behavior. Not much activity, pretty gray in that area. But that's the second thing. The third is abuse in childhood, like a trigger. The timing of the abuse in the child's development kind of depicts or decides the type of psychopath you have. Interesting. But Dr. Fallon has the genes, he has the brain, but he's never abusive. His whole family's been interviewed many times, and they seem very loving. They make little jokes to say he's not abusive, but he's not the best at funerals, and he's really competitive, things like this. But he's not violent. Not violent. So this shows that the brain testing may show propensity, but not finality, not a real fact conclusion. But it also shows the significance of parenting. Specific brain scans can now detect borderline personality disorder, histrionic, narcissistic, and sociopathy and psychopathy, antisocial. Shows lacking empathy, morality, and a conscience. We can detect this now in brain scans, although very expensive. Several thousands of dollars. My question to all of you is, and I hope that you give this serious thought. Give it a second. Think about it. Okay? Really, think about this. Now that we know that brain scans can be used to keep us safer, the question is should brain scans be used to keep us safer? Should they? We check credit scores, education, job references, criminal background, even our blood and our eyes for things like loans, jobs, renting things, even driving. Check your eyes, right? What about marriage? What about parenting? Huh? What about those things? I see a possible socialistic type of government if used by the government. But what about personal use? Yeah? Imagine dating sites requiring brain scans. Imagine that. Be a huge difference. On dating sites, all of you, most of you watch my videos, know me a little bit, know that I'm fully against dating sites. Never even typed one in and looked at one. But, wow, that kind of changes things, doesn't it? If 10% of society has the propensity to abuse and be violent, it's probably 20 or 30% on dating sites. Now they're gone. Not bad, huh? Is it worth it? Pay a lot of money? What if it was cheaper? Imagine the smear campaign. Imagine the typical narcissist, borderline sociopath smearing you, publicly attacking you, trying to ruin your life, your job, things like this. And all you have to do is challenge them to a brain scan, because I guarantee you, theirs will show. And you can show you have empathy. They don't. Pretty significant. Imagine, we sign agreements before marriage. How about you have to have a brain scan? Just to be sure. Before you have a child. Now, that's where you start having the government in control of that stuff. Imagine divorce and custody battles. I've heard of hundreds of the nastiest divorces and custody battles. Massive false accusations, calling Children's Services Division, calling the police, suing and stuff like this. They have no empathy. They are more inclined to violence, don't care about people. But I do. Kind of changes things. It might, huh? Might change a judge's decision or jury. But how far could you take it? Yeah? How far? Jobs, loans, driving, right? Oh, he has no empathy. Shouldn't be behind the car. Could be a deadly weapon. I don't know. Prison reform. We all want and have hope that people will change, yeah? People that do bad things. And most of us can. Most of us, if not all of us, have done something bad or wrong. And we can change those things. But prisoners reform is pretty low. And we let prisoners out who've committed violence, crimes, and they go and repeat them. Now there's more victims. What if we could say, well, this person who's already exhibited the behaviors, we can see has the genes, the brain, should we let him out? Let him out in society? How far could we take this? I brought this up as a question. I think it's interesting. It's something I've thought about for the past few years. I've heard of other solutions you guys have given that I don't see working. I think the worst one I've ever heard is we have a narcissist like website or bulletin board, and we just start posting every toxic person on there, and that's how we know. Yeah, I mean, that is the worst idea I've ever heard. I've said before, if that happens, then we just start posting everyone's name up there, don't we? Your name will be on there before you ever get the narcissist's name on there, right? The narcissist will say, you're the one abusing me. We know this already. Horrible idea. And I've heard making laws about emotional abuse. I don't see that happen. I don't see how that can happen. That's a double-edged sword too. But what about a brain scan? I have a lot of compassion for human beings. You know, think of Dr. James Fallon, who has a beautiful family. A brain scan could keep him from a lot in life. You know, if we say parenting, then he couldn't have a family. Is that fair? It doesn't sound like it, does it? Maybe along with a brain scan, we can have, you know, I don't know, history or something. I don't know. I just love to know what you guys think. I'm one brain. Let me know what the 1,000 or whatever many people watch this video thinks. Let me know, please. Really curious. You know, this country, we have democratic processes. What does the majority think, I wonder, if this was to be in legislation? And I don't think you need to be. I think you're allowed to go get your husband or wife's brain scanned if they agree to it, right? So you don't really need a law. But just as far as majority, what does the majority think? What do you guys think? Let me know, please, and ask questions. Share any more information you have. I've made other videos about this. Feel free to go find them. But ask questions. Let me know what you guys think, okay? Please. Thank you. But don't forget, love yourself first, right? Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.